Grote Marketingcongres 2015. Ik zit hier met Ashley Vinson. She's Head of Strategy Twitter Benelux. Ashley, your talk was about the power of now. Can you explain to me what is the power of now?
So I think the power of now ties back to a lot of what people always discuss, which is real-time marketing. So how do we tap into that, what's happening now on social media? How do we tap onto what's happening now on Twitter? And really, so we bring up this topic a lot, and a lot of clients say, this is great, but I'm anxious.
Yeah.
And I don't know actually how to execute against this. So for me, this talk was about the power of now, but the power of now to really take advantage of it is really the power of planning.
Yeah.
And so how there were practical tips on how a brand can actually take advantage of the now by planning months and months in advance with their regular campaign materials. So when their campaign materials do go out on Twitter, they're right there in the now and it's relevant, but they had the chance and the time to plan for it.
So you can also schedule old content at a right moment.
Exactly, and I think that's the thing, is that a lot of times brands have this great content and they don't use it to its full advantage, so they're running it on television, but they're not also running it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or they have a great 2-minute video, but they could make out of that 10 animated GIFs that could also be content.
Yeah.
And they could tie that back to their campaigns.
But when is content Twitter proof?
And what do you mean by Twitter proof?
When it's a success on Twitter, what is good content on Twitter?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's about relevant content. So, you know, every brand has their own KPIs. Okay, so getting them to click, or getting them to view it, or getting them to go to my website. So everyone has different goals.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if it's relevant to the consumer, you're going to have success. And when I see brands fail, they're failing because they're talking a lot about themselves. And they're saying, well, this is my product. And so a lot of consumers are saying, well, how does your product help my life or relate to me?
Yeah. And what is the most common mistake those failing brands make?
I think I like to call it brand narcissism.
Yeah.
That they focus only on themselves and they focus on talking about their product. So for instance, let's say you have a new phone out and all you talk about is all the great things that the phone can do versus how that can actually help improve someone's life.
But people don't listen to that.
Some brands listen, some don't, and you know.
And people, consumers?
I think consumers, when we look at campaigns that are successful, yeah, we see the engagement, we see the sales go up, we see things happening, and time again, it's a combination of really good creative and good media targeting.
Yeah.
So if you're reaching that right person at that right moment, you're going to make an impact. And if you have the right content, that's when things really fly.
Do you have any tips or tricks for brands to work on Twitter?
Well, I think the most important tip is find out what's relevant to your audience. What do people care about? So if people are caring about what the weather is, or they're caring about how to save money or
you
plan
need to
for
tap
the future.
in with content about the weather or something.
Exactly, but it's like if you go into a conversation with someone, and you know, even if you're going into a group of conversation and everyone's talking about the football match last night, and you come in, you say, "Hey, I have a cat."
Yeah.
It's not that the cat isn't necessarily interesting, but it's not interesting to those people at that moment. So your cat discussion may be okay with some friends at a cafe that are talking about their cats, but with the people talking about the football, bring something up that's relevant to that. And that's the great way to win.
Are there any new projects that Twitter are going to introduce the coming time?
Yeah, so we're very excited about Twitter Moments. So that's now been released in the United States and will come to Europe fairly soon. We don't have a timeline yet, but what Moments is, it's really a great way to check in really quickly on what's happening all over the world with some of the best content.
Yeah.
So what's awesome about Twitter is that when you follow, you know, all the things that you're interested in, there is no algorithm. You get to see every single tweet of everything you're interested in. On the flip side, we saw a need for creating moments which allow users to access content that's really trending and happening now.
To me, it sounds a little bit like Snapchat.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, for us, you know, we're actually curating the content. We're using a whole bunch of different factors to bring in the right content of what's really happening. So what it reflects is what's happening now on Twitter and what's exciting. So for me, I follow a lot of fashion brands. So if something's happening out in the world, I may not see that happening right away. So what Moments does is it augments your experience with not only everything that you love and you're interested in, but a quick way to check in what everyone else is loving.
So you get a personalized timeline.
Exactly. Well, you get a personalized timeline regularly on Twitter, but now it will give you almost kind of a quick check-in with things that are happening now in the moment on Twitter. So you don't miss anything.
Thanks, Ashley.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Dankjewel.
Thanks.